Yeah.
neurotic people, especially women, but men also,
Yeah.
they're fear driven. They're not
Yes.
they're not driven from like ambition and goals.
Yeah.
It's there's a difference between being ambitious and being neurotic,
Yeah.
and neurotic tends to come with a lot of negative connotation because of the fact that it's driven. It's a fear based thing, and they tend to do really terrible stuff.
Yep.
And the way they manipulate people is quite interesting.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. And that's like that's her. That's very much her because like she'll go and she'll make all these statements and the way and treat people like I'm just like wow how like you treat people so terribly. And it kind of made me one of the big things that kind of made me really laugh is we do these surveys, and one of the questions in the survey is, "Are we? Do you? Are you? Are we? Or do we feel like we have control over what we build?" And I'm just sitting there like, the obvious answer is that we are. We come in here and we don't get a chance to sit there and say, "Hey, I would like to build this today." Like, and I think I was the only one who said we are. Everybody, no, we have all this amazing influence over what we get to build. I'm like, y'all
Do
are
you?
like, no, we don't. We are definitely very much. And it's like you get you guys just come in and tell people what to do and all this stuff, and it's like, you know what? Man. And so we were going over it, and it's like, oh well, there's only one person who said that, and
And his voice doesn't count because he's
well,
obviously
so
not
here's
fun enough.
part of the frustration too is it's like the team's trying to talk about it and figure it out, but then at the same time, it's like you these surveys are anonymous, and you're like trying to ask that person to say something and bring it up to the entire team, and it's like you haven't created any sort of safety. So
And
anyway,
that's why we have freedom of speech and
oh yeah,
intelligence not to admit that you made fun of everybody.
it's true. I'm like that's kind of what I did. Is it's like I did make fun of everybody and nobody got it. Or nobody understood. It's like,
They lack creativity. What's the
oh,
point of
dude,
doing
yeah.
these surveys if you're not going to have fun with it?
Well, they lack. It's not so much
Nuts.
they lack creativity. It's that they are content with being like drones, essentially. They are content with coming in,
I think
doing
we
their
need these
job.
because as
They
GPT
you
is
do.
taking over the world, we need batteries.
Matrix.
I'm not saying
What was
I
it?
am
I was.
definitely not Agent Smith.
Oh yeah. So there's this really awesome. I'm gonna send you a video. Hold on. You should watch this later.
I'm totally watching it. I love the videos you send.
This guy's
So
really
sarcastic and
good.
funny.
Um, I don't know how he got this. Yeah. So it's a video called "A City Built for Nobody." Okay, and the guy is discussing this manga
Manga?
that
Manga?
manga
Manga. What's a manga?
Japanese comic.
Oh, I always thought those were manga.
People call them manga, but that's because that's the American pronunciation. The Japanese pronunciation is manga. They don't really have
Stupid
it.
Americans.
Yeah. Um, they're really the premise of it is set millennia in the future. Okay, and the it's in a city, and the city is described as being as big as the orbit of Jupiter. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, it's massive. It is absolutely massive.
The orbits of Jupiter.
Yes.
Like the way Jupiter goes around the sun.
No, like from the center of the solar system all the way out to the orbit of
Yeah,
Jupiter.
yeah, the whole circumference of it, the loop around the sun.
Yep. Yep.
Well, that's a sexy city.
It's
Okay,
called,
sorry
you
to
know what
interrupt.
a Dyson sphere is?
No, no, please enlighten.
Dyson. It was
I thought it was a vacuum.
who was it? Dyson. Who's Dyson? Oh gosh, the vacuum of course pops up, and I don't want that. It's a Freeman Dyson. He's a scientist.
It's like
Is he still
mathematician. I thought
alive?
he was.
No, he passed away. Theoretical physicist, mathematician, quantum field theory, astrophysics, random matrices, mathematical formulation of quantum, whatever. Anyway, he created he hypothetical made up this hypothetical megastructure called a Dyson sphere that just encompasses an entire solar system and draws all the power it needs to operate from the sun and uses all of it or a huge amount of it. So this manga takes place in essentially what you would call a Dyson sphere. Okay. And the concept of it is that millennia prior to the story, like we're talking huge time scales with this. All right. Humans created AI or created machines to build things and start building. And
So we're talking like
essentially,
12 years after a
basically.
AGI.
So, um, AGI stands for Artificial General Intelligence, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway,
Or what is ASI?
ASI, Artificial Sentient Intelligence.
Oh, badass.
Yeah, there's a really phenomenal book series by Peter F. Hamilton called The Commonwealth Saga. If you're into sci-fi and into that type of stuff, you should
We
really
should
look
review
that
that
up.
book next month, when we finish
At
these two
some point,
books.
yeah, we're never going to finish these two books. We're going on and on and
We
on.
bit off a lot more than we thought we were going to
Yeah,
chew.
we did. We really did. I don't know.
I'm like, I'm going to do both of these books in like a week.
You no, no, no.
Yeah,
Anyway,
the days I realize I'm a dumbass.
you just I don't know what to
Okay,
say.
every day. Shut up.
No. I was gonna say you're just very optimistic. So anywho,
That's the worst way somebody's called me stupid in a long time.
anywho, the long and short of the story is that at some point the humans created these builders to build the city, and then they eventually just got out of control and just kept building and building and building and building. So the idea is, so it's really interesting. You should watch that video because he talks about artificial intelligence and how the manga relates to modern day and interesting things like that. But getting back to everything, it's kind of like I said, like there's so we're talking about that survey and work and everything. And the truth of the matter is, if you are somebody that just wants to go, so one of my a friend of mine called himself a bottom feeder. He's like, I'm the type of person that shows up at work. You just give me something to do, and I'm going to go and work, and I'm going to do it, and then I'm going to go home and enjoy myself. There is nothing wrong with being that type of a person. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And if that's what you want to
And
do,
in
what you
fact, I look for some people like that
yes,
who uh, have an understanding that they have to grow their skill base.
yep,
They have to perform very well at that one tasks.
yep.
And God, you tell me who he is. I want to hire him.
He's I don't know what he's doing right now. I haven't seen him in a bit.
I'm just saying, everybody who's listening, every manager who's listening says this bottom feeder, they want to hire him now.
I'm sure they do. It's just anyway. So all of that, like, just kind of sitting there, kind of saying that, like, there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm not that type of a person. I try to be. I try to do that, and I just get so my soul just gets sucked out of me, so to speak. So this is
Yeah.
hilarious. This really is a therapy session. I don't like that. We need to stop
What?
doing these therapy sessions.
No, these sessions are fun. This is where we get to see human soul because I'm not good at presenting
I
that.
have no soul.
Yeah, I know.
I've sold
From
it
your
off.
lips to God's ears, right?
Yeah.
And if you have no soul, where the fuck am I?
Good question.
You're like 10 soul steps ahead of me.
Nah.
We need to write a book, 10 soul steps ahead.
Yeah, maybe we should write, at some point write a book about just what we've learned over the running businesses and creating businesses, and I don't know. I'm just
I'm going to call it My
uh
Milkshake's Better Than Yours.
that's actually a good way to put a good title. I like it.
Yeah. I
It's
want to
kind of
just
like
copyright it.
there's a book title, book called "What Color Is Your Parachute."
Oh, clever.
I can't remember what it is. What color is your parachute? Wikipedia. Let's see. It came out in 1970.
Ooh, classic.
It's basically about job seeking.
Cool.
It's yeah. So he talks about the book talks about networking, because a lot of the advice that we get is just like send out your resume in bulk fashion, like a shotgun and everything. And it's
See,
like,
I've never
no,
given that advice. I'm the worst advice giver ever.
yeah. He's like,
I've always been like, find
no,
the
create
top
networks.
10 companies you want to work for, make it, make something that impresses them,
Yeah.
try to apply them in there. Say, if I'm not amazing enough to work for you yet, any one tip would be amazing. And that's a hard, if coming with some kind of work in preparation, that's a hard question to ignore.
True. Very true.
HR can ignore anything, of course,
Oh, they always do.
right?
They
But,
ignore everything.
and that's their job, to save intelligent people from wasting their efforts on things that could make them successful.
I just
You see, I
think,
truly respect and love HR. I
yeah,
consider HR a process that you should automate with software.
not just that. I would also say, like, you don't need to hire, or if, the moment that you need to hire full time HR people, in my opinion. So, like,
No.
I'm a big small business fan. The moment that you need to hire an HR person full time is the moment that your business is too big.
Okay. I'm going to disagree with you.
Sure, fine.
Okay. I just don't know how yet, but I'm coming out with it. Right? No, so it's coming. It's going to be good. So the moment you have to hire an HR, that means your business grow too big, or your head is too far up a dark spot.
Okay, that
Okay,
works
I'm going to
too.
say your head is too egotistical. You should look for alternatives until you literally can't support the HR outsourcing. Because anytime you hire a HR person, they're going to become woke because they're going to get bored unless you have like 10,000 employees.
That's true.
Right now, if you have 10,000 employees, yeah, you probably need two HR people. Right?
Unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah. It's at a certain point you need to have somebody listening to the voices.
Yeah.
Um,
One of the things that I would definitely say is 100% true. There's an internet meme or internet law or whatever you want to call it, where they say any business that is not explicitly conservative will eventually become woke. So
it's
if you
true.
don't
It's true.
set out as a business saying
If
we
it's
are
not
a
part of your
conservative,
culture,
yep,
you'll become woke.
yep, because
Because if you don't have a defined culture,
yep.
the people you hire will define the culture for you.
Oh, 100% true. And I've seen that happen. I've seen
Always
that happen
happens.
at businesses.
I've
And,
even
and
seen it with people that have defined cultures and
yes,
they let it go
yes,
and they're not the leaders that they should have been,
yep,
which means
yep,
uh, business people, when you find yourself in this position that you lost control of the culture, you need to fire a lot of people.
yep.
First of all, you need to get control of your structures and your operation procedures.
Well, you
Then you
need
need
to,
to fire a lot of people.
yes,
You need to rehire them. You need to first define your structure, your culture, and then you need to make sure that they apply your culture throughout the process. And you need to fire yourself because you are not CEO material. You are a beautiful
mm,
person, but not every person should be a CEO. And I think we all know this, right? And if you're
mm-hmm,
successful, you realize that, maybe I call myself CTO.
Mhm.
right? I'm not
Mhm.
a
Mhm.
CEO.
Mhm. Mhm.
I
Mhm.
can't do mundane, repetitive tasks,
Mhm.
right? It's not my place. I'm not saying that's what a CEO does, right? But to me, some of that culture is mundane, repetitive tasks.
Mhm.
So the know what you are, and as soon as you find your weakness, hire somebody else to fill that, even if you have to give them profit sharing or whatever it takes.
Yep. Yep. I can't add to that. I think you're good. I think that was a very good way of putting it.
I'm still trying to
I
find something to argue with you about.
the HR stuff.
You're right. I'm still trying to find something else to argue with you about.
I mean, the big thing from my perspective is it's just like if you going with the or sticking with the culture and stuff, it's like the company that I'm at. The culture is definitely very much determined by the CEO and everything, by the top down. CEO of the company just very much is a dictatorial type. Do this, do that, do this, and
Yep.
and you can see that influence everywhere else within the company and how people act and behave and treat other people and such.
You
And
know
I
how
don't
I
like.
define a
Go
culture?
ahead. What?
It's super
How?
simple. The way you define culture is you go through the recordings of the last 30 things that the CEO said,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the culture,
Yeah, yeah. You're. That's a good point.
right? If it's you're underperforming, if it's your crap, or if it's these are our values, right? A lot of them don't understand that what they say defines the culture. And this goes downhill. Now, if the
Mm-hmm.
managers don't repeat what the CEO says, that means that they have a renegade management group
Okay.
and they should be fired.
Oh,
And
interesting.
then if you have to fire more than two managers, it means your CEO probably should be fired.
Uh huh.
And then they need to, or trained, right?
Okay.
Training, I think, before firing on any occasion,
Uh huh.
because the managers should be repeating what the CEO is leading. And if they're not, then they have different value sets than the CEO. So
Oh,
if it
so go ahead.
basically if the three people under the CEO don't believe what the CEO does, then there's no culture.
It's true. The one thing that I would say, or kind of like, and that that kind of leads back, like from the Phoenix Project, like
Mm-hmm.
what we saw in the Phoenix Project. One of the things that I would say is before. So if the CEO is saying something or saying or setting forth a culture, a very specific culture, and wants that specific culture, and the managers are doing a different culture or saying something different, I would sit and I would argue. The argument that I would make there is before you fire them, evaluate what's going on.
Before you hire them,
Well, no, 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 no.
survey what their values
That
are
is okay. I agree with that
and get that on
statement.
paper.
I
Do it
agree
a
with
written
that
survey.
statement. But if like the CEO is trying to change the culture and the managers are kind of like refusing to go through with that, you need to sit. The CEO should evaluate. Okay, is the culture that I am trying to change? Is it because I have not communicated it properly to the managers? Because like sometimes you can have a manager who's still stays the course and does the thing that they were doing previously because it was not like the new culture was not properly communicated. In which case it's like, okay, does the CEO need to sit and determine how to like a new like do a new way of communicating the new culture? So like
Mm-hmm. Buy-in
re-communicate
is
it.
hard.
Is that something good? What they are currently perpetuating is that good? And let me integrate that into the culture that I am trying to create. But now I will say most of the time, you are going to end up having to fire those managers. And so good book about this, and I actually really don't care for it that much, but it does give a good example of this is the five dysfunctions of teams or the
I love this book, The Five
I,
Dysfunctions of a Team. And
yeah
I think that's not the full title, but if you write that, you'll get it.
it's
Really good book.
Lencioni, right?
I think so.
Lencioni,
Sounds right. Sounds right. I'm
Patrick
bad with names.
Lencioni.
Very good book, Five Dysfunctions of a Team.
The five
And
dysfunctions of a team. Yep.
oh
Yep.
wow,
Well,
you
then
nailed it.
then he's got another book called Death by Meeting, and I'm like, ah, yes,
Oh,
I
cool,
want to
cool.
read that one. I I thought the five dysfunctions of a team in general it was all right. It's all right. It's not like amazing, but it was all right. Anywho,
It's amazing. Okay, for the rest of you guys, I'm not with Alan on this one. I finally found something I can disagree with. I think it's
yeah,
really
it's
amazing.
just
Look into it to see how much you suck,
that
right?
is
What's painful about this book and beautiful is on every page, I realize that I suck,
yeah.
right? Or I have
Yeah.
sucked in the past way more than I suck now. And that's the beautiful thing about that book, right? If
Yeah.
you can't read a book that says you're not the most perfect flower, it's not for you.